今さら照れるの？違うって
いや、そうか。これじゃプロポーズだよな。
いうの？
違わない。むしろ望むところだ。ぜひ頼む。
やめ、わかったから。
やったー。ありがとう。
だから急すぎるのよ。
I am so excited and so satisfied that I decided to stick with Farming Life in Another World. As you guys know, and if it's your first time on the channel, you don't know, but I have a obsession, in a sense, with farming anime. And what's funny is that will also extend it to like my gaming as well. Like, I really enjoy playing farming games. This year, I'm going to be very excited to jump into Rune Factory 3 Special. Last year, I was excited to jump into Rune Factory 5. I was excited to jump into Harvestella. I really enjoy a good RPG farming game. There's just something so serene about it. Now, not all of them are good, not all of them are created equal, but there's just something so satisfying about farming sims with the little, with the little RPG elements to it. And I feel like I'm getting that satisfaction in an anime form. And I've been watching a lot of farming anime. Probably one or two anime a season have been farming related, and I've watched all of them. And I haven't necessarily been disappointed with all of them. Like, they're not every single one of them is created equal. Like, some are way better than others. Some are like, oh, this is, I guess I'll just stick with it kind of thing. But Farming Life in Another World is an echelon above the other ones so far as the immediate reaction to the beginning stages of the season. This one specifically I thought was very interesting. So I want to touch on the end real quick so I don't forget to talk about it. But essentially, I freaking laughed my ass off. Like, I literally was laughing my freaking ass off at the end towards the end of the episode, because Michio finally meets another girl, right? Or he finally meets another person, I should say. I don't even think it matters that she was a girl or not, but it just so happens that he meets another girl and she's a vampire. For him, he hasn't interacted with anybody in this world at all. So to him, her being a vampire doesn't faze him whatsoever, right? As if we were to get, transported, isekai, reborn into another world in the same fashion that Michio was, to where we've had no interaction with anybody, and the first other being that we meet outside of the animals is a vampire, we probably would think the same thing, like, oh, this is a fantasy world, oh, they're a vampire, do you need to suck my blood or anything? Like, do you need that? Like, don't worry about it, whatever. Like, we would probably be on the same wavelength as Michio, not really being threatened or question it very much. Just be like, oh, that's something that I've only seen in stories. It's really cool to see. I've never met anybody, but now I've met somebody like you. So I thought that was a really cool thing, and I think that was even more appreciated by her. And I think I wrote down her name, Lucy. Her name was Lucy. I think that was even more appreciated by Lucy as well, is that he didn't have any reaction or fear or anything. Because I don't know if vampires are, I don't know yet if vampires are feared in this world, or if they're looked at different or anything like that. So let's just assume that they are in some capacity. Then it makes sense for her to take a more of an insta-liking to Michio, because he doesn't have any fear or like any kind of reaction of any sort, you know what I mean? So I think that is a really good thing as well. Then I also love how he's like, he hit us with, I don't think I'm ever going to have a chance like this again. And he's been feeling really lonely and by himself. And like, at this point, we don't know if maybe like 3 months, 6 months, a year has passed, but a significant amount of time has passed. And he's like, I'm really lonely. I have my friends, I have my animals, I have Zabuton, the spider, I have my dogs. He's like, so he has companionship, but he's still lonely in a sense of, he doesn't have companionship on that level. So he's like, I don't think I'm gonna ever get a chance like this again. So he does the grovel of like, please stay with me, and then he's like, please stay with me forever. And she's like, oh my god, this is moving so fast, I don't know. And then she's like, I don't really have anywhere to go, people are chasing me. She's like, are you sure? He's like, stay with me forever. And then she was like, oh, she's like, I've never been proposed to like this before. She's like, okay, I'll stay. He's like, proposal? And she was like, yeah, you've asked me to stay with you, you asked me to live here, you asked me to be with you, you asked me to stay with you forever. And he was like, proposal? He's like, it is a proposal. Yeah, proposal. And then I love how he doubled down on it. He's like, proposal, you gotta be with me forever. And I just that whole scene, that you know, the whole interaction between them, of how he basically asked her to live there out of like loneliness, asked her to stay with him like forever, not really realizing that the way he was coming off was basically like, you know, love me, marry me, be with me, like in that kind of sense, that he was basically like just like all out, like balls to the wall, don't leave me, just stay with me forever kind of thing. And then her explaining of how he was coming at her, and then him going like, okay, yeah, that's it, I do want that. And then he just doubled down on it, and I was like, that's cool. That's a cool thing that I haven't seen in anime before, to where someone's like, they call another character out for being like, you know, hey, you're proposing, you're basically asking me to marry you right now. And they're like, yeah, that's it. And he even acknowledged himself too, like, I'm awkward, I didn't know how to interact with people, I don't know how to interact with people. It's like, I don't really know how to convey what I want, you know. So he admitted himself that he's like, I don't even know what to do here. But the moment she said like, yeah, you're proposing to me right now, he's like, yes I am. And he just doubled down on it. So he finally got his first villager, but he also got his first life partner, and his first life partner also happens to be a vampire, which is pretty cool too. And I love how she came out. I thought it was really hella funny too. She came out and she kind of like got smaller, and she was like, I don't think that you would ravage me as much if I am in a smaller form. He's like, yeah, you're right. I'll be a little bit more hesitant. So I love that as well. So I think that was all a really cool thing. I've taken up a lot of time. I freaking love this episode. I thought this is great. This show's great so far. But you know, outside of that too, he finally found out that he was in the forest of death via the vampire. He was unaware about it. He's been taming monsters. Essentially, the dogs, the spider, are monsters. He didn't realize that. We kind of knew that. You know, I love how the spider moved in. He gave the spider a name called Zabuton. The spider really showed off and made him like a little, like, I don't know, like a handkerchief as she embroidered it. I thought that was so cool. And she made him clothes, and you know, the spider is very talented. And I love how basically the spider like submitted an application to live there via a blanket or whatever. And the dogs found her. The puppies left to go get partners. They brought back life partners. So now he has more dogs. He has more spiders, because the spider during the winter also gave birth. I like how he prepared and got himself past the first winter. And then the last thing I'll really talk about is the beginning of the episode started off with God. And there was one specific thing that rubbed me wrong, which was God said that he bestowed a life of a sinner to an innocent man. And that rubbed me wrong, because I was like, how could God, or the God that they're depicting in this world, how could he know someone's going to be a sinner before they live their life? So why would you bestow a life of a sinner to somebody innocently? Like, it's just so, just ass backwards there. So I wasn't a big fan of that specifically. It could be a translation thing, but he basically said that he gave a life of a sinner to this innocent man, which is Michio, on accident. He's trying to right his sin now, which that's completely okay. And I love how he said he accidentally put him in the forest of death. And he was like, he's like, I put him in the forest of death and I expected him just to go far. I'm like, what am I? He's like, well, if he makes it back here, you know, to do another redo, I'll say sorry and give him another shot. And I was like, that's some funny shit. So otherwise, like, that's really all that happened this episode. But Farming in Another World is fantastic. This anime is blowing me away. I love it so much. And I'm going to see you guys next week. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments. All right, my friends. Peace.